Hi, my name is Christy Markham. I'm an elementary teacher and I also have my Master's of Literacy. I wanted to create this video for guardians to learn the best and most valuable ways to read with their children. Over the years, I have found that there have been many guardians that come to me telling me they want to read with their children and they want to help them in the best way they can, but they're not sure of the best ways to do that. There have been many studies that show that home involvement is a direct predictor of student achievement. So if your teacher and you can be on the same page and be consistent with the ways that we help your children read, we will see optimal outcomes from your child. So let's start with the basics. Your child should be reading 20 to 30 minutes a day at home. At school, they'll have their independent reading time, but it's not enough to help them make the growth that they need to make. This has to be reinforced at home as well. So 20 to 30 minutes a day might look like as soon as they come home, right when they get home and you're making them a snack, they're reading to you. It might look like right before bed, you read a book together. But there should be 20 to 30 minutes a day of book exposure at home. Your area that you're reading in should be quiet, the TV should be off, siblings should not be running all over the place, and it should be a spot where they can focus on their reading. You should also encourage them to read anytime they can. When they see a billboard, have them read it. When you're making dinner and there's a recipe, have them read it to you. Turn the subtitles on a TV and have them read those. Have them read any opportunity that you get. And the hardest part is having the right books for them to read. So they should be reading books that are a good fit for them. So we want to be sure we are giving them books at a level that will help them advance to the next level. So if a book is too difficult, they won't be able to do that. And if a book is too easy, it's not giving them the support and the practice they need to move forward. So finding these good fit books is important. Your teacher should give you your child's reading level, but the likelihood of you having those exact levels at your house are slim. And if you don't have the money to buy those books, then that can also be an issue. So it's important that we have different options for our children. So if you have books at home, that's fabulous. Sometimes the library will do a book sale. I remember that's where I got most of mine from when I was a child. Sometimes, Scholastic will have great deals. And sometimes you'll have books that have been passed on. But if you don't have these books, there is a great option. There is an app or a website called Get Epic. And Epic Books is a place where there are tons of digital books that are at your child's level. And the best thing about Epic is that they're books that they're interested in. So I have used Epic in my classroom every single year since I started teaching. And I have found that my kids love Epic. They love being able to type in a topic they want to read about and seeing an array of books just come up so that they can choose what they would like to read. Or if we are learning about something in class, many of my students will search for that topic. So for example, we did a nonfiction unit this year and we were learning about pandas. And so I had many students who got on Epic and they typed in pandas and there were tons of books that they could learn more information about pandas and they were so excited about this. So it's great for nonfiction and it's also great for series books and books that were movies, or your child doesn't know that it was a book first, and they can watch the movie and then read the book, or they can read the book then watch the movie. All the time I have students come up to me that they saying they had no idea that this was a book first, and they'll find it on Epic or they'll find a series on there that they love. So Epic is a great option for finding those good fit books. and finding things that your children are interested in. Another great thing about Epic is that it helps students practice their digital literacy. So digital literacy is learning through anything that's digital, learning through technology. And students are growing up in a digital age right now, and we must meet them in their thinking and help them with using technology and learning technology. And this is going to help them be more successful in the real world as well. So it may be more realistic to use something like Epic Books for their everyday reading if you don't have money to keep updating their books to match their level, or if you're busy, or if your child just enjoys being on an iPad anyways. This is a great way for students to get their reading in at home. Epic Books has books that will read to them, or they have books that they will have to read. And so you can read together on there, you can have them read independently, but it is a great option. So now that we have talked about all the basics of reading, let's talk about your child's needs. So each child is going to have a different focus in their reading that their teacher believes if they can master this, they will be able to move to the next level to become a stronger reader. So your child's teacher will be able to tell you what your child needs to focus on, but it's helpful for you to understand what these things mean. I have found that at many of my conferences in the past, I have said, your child needs to work on decoding, or your child needs to work on fluency, and parents nod their head, and then I wonder, did I need to elaborate on what those things were? And did I need to, give something more than a handout about these things? And that is precisely why I am creating this video. So before your child can work on anything else, they have to be strong in decoding. So decoding means to sound out and read unknown words. So if they come to a word that they don't know, they have to have strategies on how to solve this word. Okay, so it's not best to give them the word, but it's best to have them use those strategies, and we will talk about those later in the video. This has to come first before we can focus on anything else in their reading. So once they have strategies to decode, your teacher might tell you that your child needs to work on fluency. Fluency is the ability to sound like they are having a conversation. They don't sound robotic. They have intonation and expression, and they can read to match how the characters are feeling and to match the story. And the last thing, the last major area of focus would be comprehension. So comprehension is the ability to understand the book, understand the characters, understand the author, and really different perspectives of those things. So once you understand what each of those things mean, how can we work on each of those things? So decoding. Decoding is sounding out words. If your child comes to a word that they don't know and you're reading with them, it is best not to give them the word, but to give them prompts that will help them figure out that word. So some of the strategies that you might give them is first sounding it out. So saying each sound that you hear. So in this word, we would say d, n, t, d, nut, donut. And sometimes they will have to say it multiple times until it starts sounding like a real word to them. And so this is a great place to start. Another very helpful strategy is chunking. So if your child comes to a word and they're not sure what the word is, but they see a chunk in there that they know, that can really help them figure out the word. So if they can recognize the word nut in this word, then they can sound a donut, right? And that is going to help them solve the word more quickly. So if they can find a chunk in there, that's a really great place to start too. We also want to think about the phonics that we're learning. So your child has been receiving instruction on how letters work and how they work together and the different things that different letters do to each other and the different sounds they can make each other have. And so if you can be aware of some of those things, you can prompt them to use those skills. So in this word, fate, we have a magic E in this word that's making the A say its own name. So often we are reviewing that this word is not fatty, right? We don't hear this E at the end, but we hear the A saying its own name, fate, and it's silent at the end, this E. This is a magic E. This is a big area of focus in first grade and beginning of second grade. The other thing is sometimes we're going to have vowels that you can't split them up. They're called vowel teams. There's two vowels that work together and they create one sound. So in the word house, if a student tries to sound this word out, they might say right? And that is not going to help them solve it. So if you see that there's two vowels making one sound, like the OU is making ow, you can prompt them and you can say, I see a vowel team in there. There's two vowels working together to make one sound. Do you remember what OU makes? And they might not, and you might be able to tell them, OU makes ow, and then they'll be able to sound the rest of the word out. Ouse, right? And so when we can prompt like that, that can really give them a good indicator, and it will help them for next time they see that OU together. There's also things like digraphs that we talk about. So CH, SH, WH, TH, two consonants that come together and they make one sound. So they're not, if you try to separate them and sound them out, it's not going to work. So in the word chest, the CH, we don't hear the C or the H. They work together and they make that ch sound. If your child is trying to sound out k, it's not going to work. So when you see something like this, you can tell them these letters are working together to say ch. Now try sounding it out, chest. And then of course there's a blend at the end where we hear an ST together, but they are making their own sounds, chest. So things like that can really help you prompt when they come to words that you're not sure how to help them with. And it's best not to give them the word unless they are becoming very frustrated. Then we have fluency. So if your child needs help reading nice and smooth, a great way to do this is to read together. You read a page, make sure your voice sounds smooth, make sure you're changing your voice to match the characters, and then have them read that same page to match how you sounded. Or maybe take turns reading, and when you are nice and fluent, it's going to encourage them to be fluent as well. You could also say nursery rhymes together, you could read poems together. These things are going to really help that fluency piece. And then we have comprehension. If your child is needing help understanding books at a deeper level, the best thing you can do is ask them questions about their reading. So as your child is moving up in their levels, the content of the text is going to become more difficult. So your questions should also become more involved. So you're going to want to start asking questions about how the characters are feeling, what the author did. Some examples of questions you could ask are, what are the characters thinking here? What do you think is going to happen next? What could we learn from this book? Can you retell the most important things that happened when you were reading? Why do you think the author did that? What part surprised you? What was the problem and how did they solve it? These things are going to help them think deeper about their reading, and it's going to help you see how they're understanding what they're reading. So these are just a couple of the basics of what you can do to make your time reading with your child more valuable. Of course, you don't have to know all of this, but this is a great idea of things that you can look for and work on when you're reading with your child. Teachers can instruct these things in the classroom, but students need this consistency and reinforcement at home. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or any of the teachers. But this is a great way to start reading with your child in the best way for weeknights, for holidays, and especially for summer to prevent that summer slide. We are all in this together, and when we are consistent and on the same page, the child will benefit most. Thanks for listening.